Just listen to the first sound, then repeat the word and tell me the sound you hear. This is a picture of a tattoo. Repeat the word.
Tattoo.
What is the beginning sound?
T.
Well, T's the name of the letter. What sound goes with the letter?
T.
Good. Let's try another. This is a picture of a saw. What sound does saw begin with?
S.
Laurie discontinues this subtest after 3 incorrect responses in a row. It's important to pay attention to the student's emotions. If the student shows signs of anxiety, stress, or frustration, you can stop administering the subtest and move on to the next one.
Okay. So just a second here. I'll figure that out later. So what we're going to do now is you're going to have a chance to try out Dala. And for every Dala subtest, there's something called a ceiling level. And the ceiling level is when you stop the subtest. So if the student is frustrated, you just stop it. But there's also a ceiling level for some of them. So if they get 3 incorrect responses in a row, you'd stop the subtest. Or if they get 4 for the whole subtest, you'd stop the subtest. Now, the way it works is you each have an examiner booklet in front of you. And you've seen how to administer the test. But the directions are always on the left-hand side page. And on the right-hand side page is always how you score the subtest. Okay, so just give it a try. And initially I'd asked for 20 people to be in the session. So there's more than 20, so I didn't have enough for every table. So the way it's going to work, on each table there's an activity booklet. So one pair, like 2 people, take that coil-bound big activity booklet with all the squares on it. 2 people take the cards, the deck of cards, and 2 people take the book called Mandy's Garage Sale. On some of the tables, I've put 2 activity books. On some of them, I've put 2 Mandy's Garage Sales, and some have 2 decks of cards. So find a partner. If you've got an uneven number at your table, you can move, or you can observe a pair doing it. So whoever's got the activity booklet, I'll just show it. If you've got this book, the activity booklet, I'd like you to do the screening test where you try out reading the community signs, and the next one where you do the text functions. If you've got the deck of cards, then you do the subtest. If you've got the deck of cards, you do subtest 3. And if you've got Mandy's Garage Sale, you do subtest 2, which is print concepts and conventions. Okay? So this booklet, you do the screening test and subtest 1. If you've got Mandy's Garage Sale, you do subtest 2. And if you've got the cards, you do subtest 3. So take about 8 minutes, and I'll walk around. Okay, I'll bring you back together now. You've probably had a little taste of Dala. So Dala is, I'm glad you're really engaged. So maybe what I'll do is just pause here and see if you have any questions. And then I'll move back to the presentation. Are there any questions so far about Dala? It's fine. Okay. Any comments? Yes. You? Yeah? Mm-hmm.
I have a question. So when you're doing an assessment with somebody and you find out that...
Can you speak loud?
Oh, you can't hear? Sorry. When you're doing an assessment with somebody and you find out that they have difficulties with the isolation words or just difficulty with 2 or 3 different activities in the assessment book, what kind of material then do we go? Is there like a workbook that goes?
Yes, perfect. Yes. Then that's my next segue. So how do you teach someone who's a beginning reader? One of the things I strongly believe in is that assessment should inform instruction. So in the Dala kit, there is a book called Teaching Beginning Readers, and I had enough to put one on each table. I'll just pull one here. And on page 21 of the book, it says, if the student was good at this subtest, what does it mean? If the student didn't do well on this subtest, what does it mean and what strategy do you use? And then this book is filled with the strategies. So there's 20 strategies in this book that can be photocopied. And there's some lesson plans as well. So that's how it works. Okay? So you can use all the results of the assessment to inform your instruction. I'd just like to speak for a few minutes about the instruction of beginning readers. As you know, there's different approaches to teaching a beginning reader, and Jean Chell coined it the great debate. So there's some people who think that when you teach a beginning reader, you begin with phonics and the alphabet. And there's other people that think when you teach a beginning reader, you use an approach called whole language. So those are the two common approaches. I always believe in balance, and that you really, your approach should be responsive to the student's needs. And I think that you should start from the student's strengths. So with a beginning reader, I'd suggest that you start with the language experience approach, which is described in the booklet, where you get them to tell a story and you write down the story, and you're using the student's own words as a beginning point for reading. There might be some resistance because they'll say, that's not real reading, I want to read a book, but it's a very good place to start. And also that you start with their sight words, the words they know from around the community. So you're starting from whole, meaningful text. That's really the best way to start. And then I've got sort of 4 bubbles here. And I think what we tend to do when we're teaching beginning readers, is we tend to focus on this bubble. And that says speech print. So that's when you're teaching them phonics and phonemic awareness and those sorts of things. But we have to also pay attention to writing, to comprehension, and to fluency, because reading is all about meaning, right? If you were going to define reading, it's about making meaning. So make sure that you've got comprehension activities when you're teaching reading. So in this book, again, there's activities such as directed reading thinking activity and KWL and those sorts of things. And also make sure that you do some writing, whether it's writing a grocery list or whatever, and that you do fluency activities. And fluency activities are things like echo reading and repeated reading. So if you can start with what's in the center, with familiar language, familiar words, and then use that text to teach everything else, it does work quite well. So that's described in this book. So in the Dala kit, you've got a lot of different pieces. You've got the activity book that was on your table. You've got the card deck. You've got Mandy's garage sale. You've got the instructional booklet. You've got 25 of the scoring booklets. And also you've got the DVD. The DVD has 2 parts. There's the part that I was showing that shows how to administer Dala, but there's also a part that shows different strategies. So it shows a group working together on word families and a group working on phonemic awareness. It shows Frank making a picture dictionary. So there's about 4 different strategies in the DVD that you could use for tutor training workshops. So I think that's about it. I'm just going to check I'm right on time. So I'm going to allow about 5 minutes for questions. Before I go into questions, I do have to thank the funders. It's the Office of Learning and Essential Skills Skills funded this project, and it was sponsored by the Center for Education and Work. And then people from across the country piloted Dala in their programs. So it was just released this April. Okay, so I'll just take some questions now. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I have this kid at work, and I'm really curious about it. But when you're doing the assessment, you have to start right from the text functions, and go through. No.
No, I would start doing the interview to develop rapport, and then I would start with the screening test to make sure it's appropriate. Plus, it's an area of strength for them, and then you can pick and choose. With some people, if you have an ESL student from another country that's very, very educated, you wouldn't do print concepts and conventions. So you can pick and choose depending on your student. The only reason you give a score to the student is if you're going to look at progress. So if you're going to re-administer the assessment 6 months down the road, you'd give a score. That's the only thing the score is for. Any other questions? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Then you can order some more from us. You can order another pack of 25. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, yes, Bridget.
Two questions. One is it available in French?
No.
And the second question is, how would this relate to CARA, which is, I know, the other tool that you
Yeah. Kara's the,
this, and then
yeah.
progress with CARA?
Yeah, yeah, because CARA's the Canadian Adult Reading Assessment, and it went, well, I mean, the reading levels in the CARA passages were reading level 1 to up to grade 12, but some people were saying CARA was still too hard. So then if they couldn't read the first word list in CARA, then this is an appropriate tool. Yeah. So Dala's before CARA. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm curious, do you have anything in ASL with the Dala and anything in Braille?
No, but I was talking to a woman today from the society here, I think in Toronto, who was, I think, yeah, that was you. So, yeah. So, no, not yet. I guess we always see if there's a need, and then if there's a need, we'll act upon it. Any other questions? So Dala is available. I brought 2 kits today. Whenever I do a workshop, it's available at a 10% discount for $174.95. And we only have 2 kits here, but you can always order it, and then we would just ship it to you. And I can't believe that I finished before the time. Thank you. Oh, I've got one more thing to show you. One more thing. Oh, this is the tenets. I just have to show this. It's a summary. This is what it's based on. Dala was grounded in cognitive and social practice theories. It reflects the reading development process. It's user-friendly and non-threatening. It encourages interaction between the student and instructor, reinforces strengths, it's contextualized, and it's unbiased. Thank you.